Okay, once you've taken your scope off your rifle, just loosen the 4 bolts, the body bolts of the scope route, and you'll get that sort of motion. Now, for me not having your rifle, I don't know what's up, but you're saying you've lost your elevation, which is the y-axis in the camera software. The x-axis is the windage, so your y is your elevation. Now you can I'm just using a bit of paper, you know, to raise the front you would put a shim, that would be acting as a shim, and then tighten these down until it's locked in. So what that's done, that's raised the front up. Now again, not having your rifle, I don't know what way the pellet's going, but you can also, if that don't work, put it at the back and lock it all down. I'm not saying use paper, but I'm just, the paper is just acting as a shim, right? So what you've done is raised the back, or you've raised the front. Okay, I'd imagine what you're saying is you've got to raise the front up, but then I could be wrong. As I say, I haven't got your scope and I can't really test it. Anyway, once that's done, you just lock your 4 bolts down. Okay, but be careful, you don't want to do any damage to it, so don't lock it down that tight, just nip it up and give it that little bit more and then test it out. But before testing it out, you would have to put your you would have to put it back to 0 on the x-axis and the y-axis, or use number B, C or D, E, you know, to test it. So you're making a shim and you're putting it underneath the rail, either, you know, whatever way it has to go, back or front. You know, I mean, a lot of rifles, you do run out of elevation. I'm not quite sure why, but that does happen. As I say, when you lock your screws down, just feel the tightness of it, and then give it that other little bit. Don't over tighten, because if you over tighten, you can do damage. Although these have got little blue Loctite tips on, it might be advisable to just put a bit more Loctite on, but don't use the red, you've got to use the blue. It's hard for me to get it in the hole. Anyway, that's how you would shim this scope. Oh, and the other question is, what is the little silver lug for? Alright, the little silver lug is here, which I've taken off. If I take this out to the rifle, I'll show you. Right, okay. Here's the Picatinny. On the crowl, I've got two. I've got the Picatinny rail running along here, and I've got a dovetail rail on top. But what this does, it locks in between your grooves, like so. So the recoil on some guns are heavy, as you know. PCPs are not, but a PCP will still give you vibration throughout the rifle. So it is possible that the scope can move backwards, and that's what that lug's for. So it stops it from doing that. So wherever you mount your scope, that would lock into the Picatinny part, so it stops the scope from moving backwards. And that's what the lug's for, you know. But as I say, I've taken mine off. I mean, they're so easy to zero in. So if it does move under the vibration, well then I just put it back as I want it. You know, this is my my point where the scope mounts up to the magazine holder. And funny enough, if I had that on, my scope would be either over or a little bit under where I want it. So that's one of the reasons I took it off. The other reason was when I first put it onto the Beeman, somehow it got twisted and raised the scope up, and I didn't really notice it at the time because it's still locked down okay, and it just who knows where the pellets went. But that's what that little silver thing is. It's like a stop for the scope moving backwards or forwards. Okay. Anyway, that's the end of this little review, and hope it helps you if you do run out of elevation. Oh, if you do run out of windage, which is very, very rare, it just means that you haven't got your scope on properly. Right? Okay. If that's on, and you've got it twisted on the rail somehow, which is very, very rare that happens, you would run out of windage if it's not absolutely dead straight. But on the elevation, it's quite common on some rifles to run out of the elevation, even with a telescopic scope, you know. So don't worry about it. Just shim it. And as I say, you can shim the front or you can shim the back of the scope, and it's just trial and error what way you need to go. But each time you try it, you must go back to X on a 0 and Y on a 0. Save it and then shim the other side and try again. Okay, so that's it. I hope to get outside later today, but I'm not quite sure. So if I don't, I'll say goodbye now, and hope you get on well.